Alright, hi, my name is Laura Schneider, and I will be talking to you guys today about communications within the graphic communication industry. The graphic communication industry is more known as the print industry, so flexible labels, paper, calendars, honestly anything that's printed is this industry. For my interview, I chose to interview Michael Ricker. He's a chemical engineer at Interprint. He's also a member of the Gravure Association of the Americas. Gravure is a certain type of print. They mass produce flexible labels, anything on a flexible substrate or material. Gravure is the largest print source in the world. It's very capable and very powerful. I met Michael Ricker at the Gravure Global Summit conference. My department sent me there back in February and March to represent Stout at the conference, to network, and to get more professional experience. This was my infograph. I made it on PictoChart, as you can see on the bottom, and I took all the information that I gathered from my interview and placed it into this document. I broke the document down into two different parts to make it easier to talk about in this presentation. The first is the top. So the background is the print industry is wide and has many forms of communication. A little bit of the communication is written, but not most of it. A lot of the written communication is job tickets or notes that you would make when you are outputting a job to make sure that it all gets done correctly. More of it is digital, a lot of forms and machine settings are sent through digital files. All of the artwork and pre-media files are sent digitally. And along with sending those files and all the information, obviously you're communicating digitally, usually over email or whatever platform your company chooses to use for communication. But a lot of communication is digital, but the most communication is verbal. All of the communication that ends up happening in the print industry happens on the floor. You have to go in on the presses, talk to the people running it, talk to the designers, talk to the pre-press, talk to the people running the presses, the folders, talk to the color managers. If you're overseeing a project, you don't just sit in your office and email the departments. You go in and you go into the separate machine rooms, or depending on the layout of the building, the whole open concept, and you walk through your print project every single time. You walk through it start to finish, and you work alongside those who are printing your document or your ad or whatever it is to make sure that it is most adequately outputted and that it is very well done. The most common types that Michael told me, that I got in my interview from Michael, that he told me were job tickets, that he would write a lot of job tickets, and that's when you first get the job in, you write down what the prices will be, what the materials you will need are, time estimates, any other notes like communication, so email, phone numbers, any contact information. Obviously there's a lot of emails. It is a professional job, so there's plenty of communication there. And then he also mentioned that he attends a lot of meetings, which goes back to the verbal communication. Obviously some larger projects are collaborative and they need all of the departments and multiple people leading the print projects. So meetings are very necessary and verbal communication is very necessary to be successful in this industry. And the little icons below symbolize what you would be communicating for. So the one in the middle, obviously with the email sign, is communicating professionally between your vendors, between your clients, and your producers. You do a lot of sharing of ideas in meetings and in emails, and a lot of the times when you're interacting with the pre-press and the creators of the material you'll be outputting, you do a lot of back and forth, making sure that the ideas they're giving you are possible, and if they're not possible, how you could try and make them possible. And lastly, you do a lot of collaborating. Like I said earlier in this presentation, you don't just work in a room. You have to go out onto the press floor. You have to go work with all of the departments. You have to be able to talk the talk to everybody that is working on your project and communicate and collaborate with them. Sometimes you'll have to get your hands dirty and work on the press if something's going wrong, or maybe the colors aren't matching up and you'll have to work with the color management team to make sure that all the colors outputted are the same. The printing process is very multi-step, multi-stage. There's so much going on, and collaboration is absolutely key if you want to succeed in this industry. Communication is probably the biggest part of this industry due to the different departments and specialties, and it's important that communication is something you can utilize and be successful in as you go into and continue your career. So thank you all for listening to this presentation. I appreciate you all taking the time to learn more about communications in the graphic communication industry.